gets to wear mail. What other name for this is chainmail, the actual name is ringmail. Weighs about 10 to 15 kilos, which is why Rick's wearing it and not me. What I'm going to do is just check where the level is. You've got to get the front and the back right, that's fine. So, Squire eggs have squire. Now he's got a better layer of protection. Cushion at the padding underneath, cushion the blow, that'll stop a sword from going through it. I would stand all day, the sharp saw, doing that, and it wouldn't hurt me at all. It wouldn't hurt Rick either, actually. It's great protection. You see a nature programme, somebody hand-feeding sharks, they wear a male glove. You see a modern butcher using really sharp knives, they wear a male glove. It stops everything except arrows. There are arrows specifically designed to get through this, a very long, thin point known as a bodkin. What happens, that will separate the legs and go through, and that will just slow it down. We're now at the age, the dawn of the era where the longbowman is now the king of the battlefield, and knights hate that. Guys don't like archers, because archers are common born. Rick's obviously very rich and very important. He doesn't like archers taking his glory. Foot soldiers don't like archers either, because archers get paid more than them. The other reason they don't like, the other reason nobody likes archers, is because archers go behind the horses. Horses, you put food in one end, you get poo out the other, and the archers get their arrows, they hit the arrowheads in the horse poo. Not very pleasant. It means that even if they don't kill you, there's a very good chance you'll get an infection and die. What they do as well, archers, when they arrive on the battlefield, they find where they're going to stand, they wee in the ground and stick their arrows in there as well. Very nice. Nobody likes archers. Right, okay. You're well protected. The good news is we have no archers today. The best level of protection is this. This is going to protect you from all that stuff put together. The reason for that, this serves three purposes. The surcoat goes over the top. On a day like today, that gets wet and start to rust. Put that over the top, it helps to protect it. If it does rust, what we do, we get a bag full of sand. We get a young person about your age. Your job is to walk about with a bag of sand with that in it and shake it about. And the sand will rub the rust off. Nowadays we don't do that, we stick it in the washing machine at 30 degrees and it cleans it perfectly. The other reason we wear this on a hot sunny day, that's metal, it gets very warm, we put it over the top, it helps to keep the sun off, it's sunscreen for your arms. The main reason we wear this is for identification. It lets your friends know who you are, it lets your enemies know who you are. And if you and I were standing fighting and this gentleman attacks us, he knocks me down, he knocks you down, he looks at me and he thinks, I'm worth nothing, he would kill me. And he's looking right like this and he goes, he's very rich and very important, let's not kill him. Take him prisoner, send a letter to his family and they'll give us money to get him back. So they send the letter off, no reply. So they send another letter, no reply. So we send a final letter. It's known as the final demand, or another name is a red letter. The reason it's called a red letter is just to prove we're serious. We'll include something like a finger or a toe. Just to give encourage them all. We call them lefty, yeah? Over the top, we wear a chainmail coif on your head. I'm going to put this on because it's not a friend to hear, as you can probably tell. This just goes over the top and protects your neck and your shoulders. And over the top of that, we wear one of these, the classic knight's helm, a great helm. Padded inside, gives great all-round protection. There are disadvantages to wearing this. Stay away, it's heavy. It does give good protection, padded inside, so it protects them all round. However, you can't hear, you can't be heard, and worst of all, you can't see very much. Your worst nightmare is an army of small people, because you can't see anything below about that height. You see my hand there? You can't see that one, can you? No, he doesn't see it coming in. And it really restricts your vision. People in medieval battlegrounds have got a horrible habit of sneaking up on you when you're wearing this. They come in low, they'll get a knife and they'll stick it in there and give it a right wiggle about. And that tends to spoil your afternoon. So I don't like wearing this in the battleground. Take this off. I'm going to give you a different hat. I tend to go for this one. This is known as a kettle helmet. Classic design in use for about 700 years until explosives made it redundant. Because soldiers will wear this, chin strap fastened, bomb goes off nearby, the blast is catching the lip of the helmet and breaking the soldiers' necks. That's why they stopped wearing it. But in our era, you can relax and over your necks. The helmet on, if I bring you right here, right, I'll show how effective and simple it is. Very simple design. If I was to hit anywhere in the hat, that would deflect and go away from your body. Very simple and very effective. The reason it's called a kettle helmet, nice and easy. Imagine a day when the sun's out, I know it's hard, but imagine a day the sun's blazing down, you're marching along all day with that's metal, your head's starting to cook, you're getting sweaty, you've got things living in your head because we don't bathe. So you're marching along, end of the day, you set up camp, right, it's your turn to cook dinner. So you take your hat off, you go around your friends and you say, put your porridge in there, put your porridge in there, put your porridge in there. You get your porridge in as well, hang it over the fire, add a bit of water, cook your dinner. And you share it. And it's great if somebody like Rick, because you're quite short here, somebody like you, ideal. Because if we eat out of your hat, what would happen is we can floss while we're eating. Lovely. And all those things that are living in your head's a good source of protein, so you stick them in as well. You always remember to clean the cold porridge out in the morning. Now we've got that. On his left arm, we put the shield. His left arm over there. You just grab hold of those two. Again, it's got the colours on. Again, it's your insurance policy. It's telling people who you are. And it gives you great protection. Covered in boiled leather, painted with your colours. And finally, the classic knight's weapon, this sword. Nice and easy, nothing else to be said. Perfect. Now what we need to do, 1314 was a day such as this where we captured the castle. We discovered the guy who used to live here, and when the gates were shut at night, he used to go and visit his girlfriend in Edinburgh. To do that, he used to climb over the walls, scale the cliff, go and see his girlfriend, then climb back up over the cliff, over the walls, and into bed. We did it wearing this. Climbed up the cliff wearing all that, got behind the garrison and cut them to pieces. And in accordance with Robert the Bruce's wishes, we flattened the castle. That's why the only part of the castle left in those times is Margaret's Chapel. The reason was he felt that even if Edward II brought an army up and captured the site, they would have to spend money to make it defendable again. So he hit him in the pocket. Now, not long after this, we fought at the Battle of Bannockburn. Edward II brought an army up to Scotland, outnumbered us 3-1, but Bruce was ready for him. And in the first day of Bannockburn, Robert Bruce was out inspecting his troops. And all they had was a battle axe. He's on a light pony, and he's not expecting to fight. And he's sitting there, and round the corner comes the vanguard of Edward's army. And at the head is a young knight by the name of Henry de Bohun, who's out to make a name for himself. He's going to be famous. And he is, he's very famous here in Scotland. Because he saw the king, put his helmet on, couched the lance, kicked the horse into life, and off he went. And he stunned him along. Bruce is on a light pony. If de Bohun's horse hits his, he will flatten him. It's all over. Bruce just waits till he gets close, yanks the reins aside at the last minute, stands up in the stirrup, down with the axe, through the helmet, through his head, and it hits his collarbone. And Henry de Bohun is very famous here in Scotland as the very first casualty of the Battle of Bannockburn. And Robert Bruce was berated by myself and the other commanders for risking so much on so little, and all he could say was, "I've broken my good axe." Great for morale. The other weapon I have here, my personal favourite, the mace. It's ideal because it's not that big, it's not that heavy, all you do is give it a little swing round. Very good for going for chins. So you get the chin and you break necks. You go for stones, you go for elbows and knees are favourites. And the reason I like this is because of how it was introduced. In medieval times the church was very important, and a lot of nobles sent their second and third sons to join the church to make a living because they couldn't inherit anything. The eldest son got all that. But they still like to fight. But church law is very strict. It says you're not allowed to go in and cut people to pieces with socks is very nasty. Don't do it. However, church law sees nothing wrong with bludgeoning them to death with a blunt instrument. That's totally acceptable. So the church introduced things like this, and you've got to love the church for that, haven't you? Absolutely wonderful. Great for infant trauma. Really good for that. The war didn't end with the Battle of Edinburgh. It ended in 1327 when Edward III recognised Bruce as king of an independent Scotland. He didn't live to enjoy it because on the 7th of June 1329 Robert Bruce died, and his two dying wishes were one, that I would govern the kingdom as regent for his young son David, and two, that his friend James Douglas take his heart on a crusade. Douglas waited till he was dead. This was very important. Then he cut out Bruce's heart, put it in a casket and set off for Jerusalem. He made it as far as Spain, and in Spain Douglas found out King Alfonso was fighting a crusade against the Moors, so he joined in. He was put in command of a joint party of Scots and English knights, and in a place called Tiva they were surrounded by the Moorish army. Douglas took the casket from round his neck, swung it round his head, threw it into where the enemy were thickest and shouted, "Lead on, Braveheart, as ever was your wont." The Scots and English all charged in and of course were cut to pieces. And Douglas's body was found lying on top of a casket with a heart and brought back to Scotland, where they were both buried at Melrose Abbey. And to this day, the Douglases, their shield features the Bruce heart in the centre of their coat of arms. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take Rick out all this stuff here. When that's done, if anybody wants to come up and handle any of the gear, please come and ask me. We'll get Rick into this because you're starting to look a bit shorter there. Quite heavy that. Copies to wear. The mail itself weighs about 10 to 15 kilos. I think he's done well.